I've been talking about borrowing structures, and in this vidcast I'm going to take a look at buying a property with someone else as tenants in common. Traditionally, this has been an arrangement used when parties who aren't related or who aren't spouses or life partners want to buy property together. It's useful because it deals with the unpleasantness which could arise from the death of one party. When you're a tenant in common, your share of the property is part of your estate and it's given to whoever your will says it should be given to. More recently, buying an investment property as tenants in common with unequal shares has become pretty popular. This is because many marketers are convincing people that this is a legal way to maximise the tax benefits. But this is only true where the parties can prove that they have a legitimate reason for having chosen to structure their property this way. When you buy a property as tenants in common, you have paperwork prepared at the outset which declares the extent of your legal interest in the property. Legal interest is generally decided where another relationship already exists between the two parties which they wish to continue. For example, it could be that two people currently have a partnership agreement for another venture which sees one party owning 10% of the venture and the other 90%. These two parties may wish to continue in this manner, and so they decide to buy a property with a 90% share to one and a 10% share to the other. As another example, two people may decide that they like to be in the business of owning rental properties. Unlike the average investor, these two people may buy a portfolio of properties which they repair, manage, and then exert their own personal efforts to operate, a bit like a business. As these personal efforts may be exerted in different proportions, they could choose to set up as tenants in common with unequal shares in the business. In both of these examples, the parties have a legitimate reason for choosing a legal structure which results in an uneven division of the income and expenses, and the tax department would allow this. Where two parties buy a property together for the purposes of having an investment, there can be little reason why they'd choose an unequal ownership split unless it was so that one party could either avoid tax or maybe could claim a tax-deductible trip to inspect the property. Since neither of these reasons is legitimate, then despite the legal ownership, the tax department may disallow an unequal claim of income and expenses unless the parties could prove other grounds for having chosen this unequal split. Now, this area of tax law is not only very vague, but it's certainly open to interpretation. While technically speaking, you could make a claim for an unequal split of income and expenses if you'd set up your ownership in that way, if the tax department feels that you only do so in order to purposefully avoid tax, then it might disallow the claim. It would certainly disallow a claim for travelling expenses for a 1% shareholder if you could prove no other reason for having structured your ownership in this manner. Borrowing as tenants in common. Borrowing as tenants in common is exactly the same as borrowing as joint tenants. If your name's on the title, then you may become a borrower and your income can be considered when applying for the loan. Therefore, a tenants in common arrangement won't give you any special advantage when it comes to getting a loan. As always, chat to your accountant to see what they think, and if your accountant isn't sure or isn't experienced in this area, then it's time to get a new accountant.
Hi there, I'm Margaret Lomas. Buying an investment property isn't about finding something that looks good and thinking that it will make a good buy. It takes years of experience and countless hours of research to identify an area that'll perform well and a property which is right for your circumstances. Let me introduce Property Match. It's a revolutionary new system which uses machine learning and our 25 years of experience to find your next investment property. Head to our website mypropertymatch.com.au or give us a call at Destiny to find out more.